You will find little joy in your command, but with luck, you will find the strength to do what needs to be done. Kill the boy, Jon Snow. Winter is almost upon us. Kill the boy, and let the man be born.
Jon Snow is a very, very important character in A Song of Ice and Fire, or the TV show Game of Thrones. In my last video, I talked in depth about Summerhall and Dragon Dreams, Green Dreams, and Weirwood Dreams, and how they all seem to be influenced by the Weirwoods. If you haven't seen that video, I highly recommend watching that video first because it's definitely a prerequisite for this video. But if you don't have time and you just trust my word, then the Weirwoods, the Old Gods, or anyone with green seeing ability that can access the Weirwood net are the senders of dreams in Game of Thrones. That would be the Three-Eyed Raven, Bran, and the Night King, and anyone else that can access the Weirwood nets. So Jon has tons of dreams without number, but there are some particular dreams that I want to talk about. One of the dreams, he's actually holding what looks to be Lightbringer. One of the dreams, he's talking with Bran, and Bran's like a whole Weirwood tree. And then in another dream, the dead kings in the crypts of Winterfell are rising from their tombs. So Jon Snow also has wolf dreams. When he sees Bran, Jon is in a wolf dream. Wolf dreams are a different type of dream. Wolf dreams are basically like sharing skin with your wolf as you sleep. So you may learn things from your wolf dreams, from your wolf's perspective, from wherever your wolf is, but I wouldn't call these dreams necessarily prophetic. In the dark, the direwolf's red eyes looked black. He nuzzled at Jon's neck, silent as ever, his breath a hot mist. The wildlings called Jon Snow a warg, but if so, he was a poor one. He did not know how to put on a wolf's skin, the way Orell had with his eagle before he died. Once, Jon had dreamed that he was Ghost, looking down upon the valley of the Milkwater, where Mance Rayder had gathered his people, and that dream had turned out to be true. Jojen describes wolf dreams as warging or skin changing. The wolf dreams are no true dreams. You have your eyes closed tight whenever you're awake, but as you drift off, it flutters open and your soul seeks out its other half. One of the wolf dreams is very significant when we are speaking of Jon's dreams overall and dreams as a whole. This dream occurs in the Clash of Kings, and to me, the timing of this dream is everything. The timing is important. When he closed his eyes, he dreamed of direwolves. There were 5 of them where there should have been 6, and they were scattered, each apart from the other. He felt a deep ache of emptiness, a sense of incompleteness. The forest was vast and cold, and they were so small, so lost. His brothers were out there somewhere, and his sister, but he had lost their scent. He sat on his haunches and lifted his head to the darkening sky, and his cry echoed through the forest, a long, lonely, mournful sound. As it died away, he pricked up his ears, listening for an answer, but the only sound was the sigh of blowing snow. "Jon, Jon," the call came from behind him, softer than a whisper, but strong too. Can a shout be silent? He turned his head, searching for his brother, for a glimpse of a lean gray shape moving beneath the trees, but there was nothing, only a weirwood. It seemed to sprout from solid rock, its pale roots twisting up from a myriad of fissures and hairline cracks. The tree was slender compared to the other weirwoods he had seen, no more than a sapling, yet it was growing as he watched, its limbs thickening as they reached for the sky. Wary, he circled the smooth white trunk until he came to the face. Red eyes looked at him. Fierce eyes they were, yet glad to see him. The weirwood had his brother's face. Had his brother always had 3 eyes? Not always, came the silent shout. Not before the crow. He sniffed at the bark, smelled wolf and tree and boy, but behind that there were other scents. The rich brown smell of warm earth, and the hard gray smell of stone and something else, something terrible. Death. He knew. He was smelling death. He cringed back, his hair bristling, and bared his fangs. Don't be afraid. I like it in the dark. No one can see you, but you can see them. But first, you have to open your eyes. See? Like this. And the tree reached down and touched him. John is in a wolf dream. He's inside of Ghost. He senses all of the wolves of the original Stark Pack with the exception of Lady, because Lady was dead by this time. But that's not what we need to focus on at this moment. So Ghost John, or John Ghost, lets out a loud howl or a mournful sound. It is here that Bran comes into John's wolf dream through the Weirwood net. Bran calls to John, softer than a whisper, but stronger too. Softer than a whisper. Remember what Melisandre said about dreams and whispers. Sleep is a little death, and dreams are the whispers of the other who will drag us into his eternal darkness. John recognizes Bran's voice though, but he's Ghost John, so he's looking for Summer. The thing about wolf dreams is they aren't always exactly how they appear, or when you're inside the wolf, you interpret things differently. Was it any wonder he would sooner dream his summer dreams, his wolf dreams? Here in the chill, damp darkness of the tomb, his third eye had finally opened. He could reach Summer whenever he wanted, and once he had even touched Ghost and talked to John, though maybe he had only dreamed that. There is a lot of contradiction going on in this dream, and we will focus on it more when we get to Bran. But what's important right now, what I want to highlight and what's important to this theory is that Bran is not even in the cave with Bloodraven yet. We are still 3 books away from him reaching Bloodraven to start learning how to use his gifts. So Bran hasn't even left Winterfell yet. He's down in the crypts of Winterfell. Bran is newly awakened, and he can already enter the dreams of other people and interfere with them. And he's not even started his training. So remember that. So the 2 dreams I want to talk about mostly are the Winterfell dream and the Azor Ahai dream. These are not wolf dreams. These are most likely sent by the old gods of the Weirwoods, the Bloodraven, the children, or something that has access to the Weirwood net, something that has a third eye. So this person could even be the Night King. It could be someone that just wants to influence something or reveal something to someone, or it could be someone that's trying to mislead someone. But the first dream we are going to dissect is the Lightbringer dream, and I will address the Winterfell dream in a separate video because these dreams are long. That night he dreamt of wildlings howling from the woods, advancing to the moan of war horns and the roll of drums. Boom, doom, boom, doom, boom, doom came the sound. 1,000 hearts with a single beat. Some had spears and some had bows and some had axes. Others rode on chariots made of bones, drawn by teams of dogs as big as ponies. Giants lumbered amongst them 40 feet tall with mauls the size of oak trees. Stand fast, Jon Snow called. Throw them back. He stood atop the wall alone. Flame, he cried. Feed them flame. But there was no one to pay heed. They are all gone. They have abandoned me. Burning shafts hissed upward. Trailing tongues of fire. Scarecrow brothers tumbled down, black cloaks ablaze. Snow, an eagle cried as foemen scuttled up the ice like spiders. Jon was armored in black ice, but his blade burned red in his fist. As the dead men reached the top of the wall, he sent them down to die again. He slew a gray beard and a beardless boy, a giant, a gaunt man with filed teeth, a girl with thick red hair. Too late, he recognized Ygritte. She was gone as quick as she appeared. The world dissolved into a red mist. Jon stabbed and slashed and cut. He hacked down Donal Noy and gutted Death Dick Follard. Qhorin Halfhand stumbled to his knees, trying in vain to staunch the flow of blood from his neck. I am the Lord of Winterfell, Jon screamed. It was Robb before him now, his hair wet with melting snow. Then a gnarled hand seized Jon roughly by the shoulder. He whirled and woke with a raven pecking at his chest. Snow, the bird cried. There's one part in this dream that really makes me think this dream is being influenced by the Weirwood net. Scarecrow brothers tumbled down, black cloaks ablaze. Snow, an eagle cried. This is occurring within the dream. But then when John wakes up, he wakes up like this. He whirled and woke with a raven pecking at his chest. Snow, the bird cried. He's pecking at his chest and crying snow, and in his dream there's an eagle crying snow. But when Bran has his dreams influenced by the three-eyed raven, the raven pecks him and cries his name. So that's a clue that the three-eyed raven could be doing something, or the Weirwood net could be doing something to influence this dream. Now, that doesn't mean that everything in this dream is misleading. It just means this dream is being influenced, and we need to look at it as if it's being influenced by someone from the outside, and we need to look at their motives. So now, the first big clue that it does represent the White Walkers is that all the people that are attacking Jon are dead. I think there's a clue that it's Bloodraven that's influencing this dream, and it's this line: 1,000 heartbeats with a single beat. So the dead are marching on the wall, 1,000 hearts with a single beat. So there's a riddle from the Tales of Dunk and Egg about Bloodraven, and it goes like this. How many eyes does Lord Bloodraven have? The riddle ran. 1,000 eyes in one. Some claim the king's hand was a student of the dark arts, who could change his face, put on the likeness of a one-eyed dog, even turn into a mist. Packs of gaunt gray wolves hunted down his foes, men said, and carrion crows spied for him and whispered secrets in his ear. So Bloodraven is known to have 1,000 eyes in one. And this army that's coming at Jon in this dream is 1,000 hearts with a single beat. So it's kind of a nice little parallel that's thrown in there. But in the dream, Jon is again alone. He's the only one left to fight this war. So men are crawling up the wall like ice spiders. So what Jon sees from atop the wall looks very similar to what Beric and Tormund sees when the army of the dead approaches them. But the most intriguing line of the entire dream, in my opinion, is this one. Jon was armored in black ice, but his blade burned red in his fist. Okay, so the ice and fire symbolism in that one line is off the charts. So he's armored in black ice, but his sword is red in his fist, burning, which seems to point to Lightbringer and Jon being Azor Ahai. But let's not be so literal. So symbolically, Jon is in the Targaryen colors. His father wore black armor. Jon's sword is red. So he's kind of just in the colors of his house. So when we think about Azor Ahai, I mean, let's be honest. Why would the Weirwoods or the old gods aid Azor Ahai in finding out who he is? Why would they do that? I personally don't think they would. Only because when you look at Azor Ahai, what it is and what it's supposed to do, he's supposed to bring on a summer that never ends. So Azor Ahai is the embodiment of fire. When you look at Jon, do you see or get the feelings of Jon being the embodiment of fire or the champion of fire? No, you don't. Or at least I don't. I think Jon is both. Jon is ice and Jon is fire. So allegedly, R'hllor does not like darkness and the old gods don't like fire. So why on earth would they aid this guy to help him to become Azor Ahai? It doesn't make sense. But he's indeed holding a burning sword. I know a lot of the fandom is consumed with thinking that Jon Snow is Azor Ahai. I mean, that's cool. That's your opinion. I don't think he is. As I've said before, Daenerys is a much better candidate for Azor Ahai. But with that said, I don't think Azor Ahai is a hero, not the hero of this story. I don't think fiery Azor Ahai is evil. I just think what the prophecy says he or she will do, bringing on a summer that never ends, that's not a good thing. And the icy great other wanting to bring on the eternal darkness, that's not a good thing either. And then there's Jon, and Jon's just there being the balance, which is why I think Jon is the ultimate hero. But when we look at dreams that point to one savior or another, they just aren't reliable. Look at Rhaegar or even Egg. They both became consumed with this prophecy and visions fed to them by dreams and people that had dreams and people that wrote down prophecies, and they were always wrong. Rhaegar thought he was the prince who was promised. He was wrong. Melisandre thought it was Stannis. She was wrong. The Dosh Khaleen thought it was Rhaego. They were wrong. We have to take the motives of the dream sender into account when we're trying to interpret dreams. And I believe that there is no way any of the people that could be sending these dreams want Azor Ahai to be reborn. There's two other reasons I think this dream is definitely a whisper from the Weirwood. One is the red mist, which Bloodraven is known to be able to turn into a mist. From both Bran's coma dream and the riddle about Bloodraven, both suggest he can whisper from the mist and transform into a mist. And then right before Jon wakes up, the gnarled hand sees Jon roughly by the shoulder. A gnarled hand, just the word gnarled, appears so many times in the text, and it often deals with the Weirwood trees or just trees in general. So it could be just some symbolism. I ultimately don't think that Bloodraven is evil. I think his interest, or the Weirwood's interest, or Bran's interest, or the children's interest is balance and preserving the world. I feel like Weirwoods are neutral entities that kind of like don't take sides, and they just protect the balance of the world. Dragons and ice demons and fire champions and ice champions, they upset the balance, and that's why we have winters that last a generation and summers that last 16 years. Now, with that said, I don't think the children of the forest are like one-dimensional. I'm sure there are different tribes and factions, and both good ones and bad ones. There is actually clear evidence of that, and I think they all have access to the Weirwood net, so at any time you have to kind of question these dreams. So I definitely think the dream was indeed sent by Bloodraven, and Jon will be the one to defeat the White Walkers. But at the same time, I think this dream is misleading, but it could potentially highlight the three people that are needed to defeat the White Walkers: Bran, Daenerys, and Jon. Look at it again. Jon is armored in black ice with a red sword burning in his fist. Jon is ice and Jon is fire, but look at it even deeper. The black ice armor could represent Bran. Bran is his armor. Bran is his shield. Listen how Vaemir Sixskins describes a frozen Weirwood. Outside, the night was white as death. Pale, thin clouds danced attendance on a silver moon, while 1,000 stars watched coldly. He could see the humped shapes of other huts buried beneath drifts of snow, and beyond them the pale shadow of a Weirwood armored in ice. Bloodraven also tells Bran something about darkness, and I think this gives us another hint. Darkness will be your cloak, your shield, your mother's milk. Darkness will make you strong. So this dark black armor of ice could represent Bran as Jon's shield. And then when we look at the red sword burning in his fist, it represents Daenerys, the champion of fire, another weapon in his arsenal. It's just symbolic all the way around. Melisandre mistakes the Great Other as the Weirwoods. When she sees Bloodraven at first, she thinks he's the Great Other and Bran is his champion. Beyond the wall, the enemy grows stronger. And should he win, dawn will never come again. She wondered if it had been his face that she had seen staring out at her from the flames. No, surely not. His visage would be more frightening than that. Cold and black and too terrible for any man to gaze upon and live. The wooden man she had glimpsed, though, and the boy with the wolf's face, they were his servants, surely, his champions as Stannis was hers. Melisandre is halfway right, but it's not Stannis. It's Daenerys, and they aren't her champions. They aren't Melisandre's champions or Weirwood champions. They are Jon's champions. One is his armor, Bran, and one is his weapon, Daenerys. And there you have the Song of Ice and Fire. But what do you think? What does this dream mean to you? It's so cryptic, and it could be interpreted in so many different ways, and it could mean so many different things. But what do you think? Was this dream sent by Bloodraven? As always, thanks for watching. Thank you to everyone that supports me on Patreon. If you like this video and videos like this, then please give this video a thumbs up. Please click that subscribe button, hit that notification bell, and join the Sweet Summer family. Okay, my sweet summer children, have a good day.
Shame.